The colored lines that describe tool movement are known as backplot. While you can get a general sense of how your operation looks from this level of visualization, a full simulation is the easiest way to verify your work. So our red lines are stock, our yellow and blue lines are backplot. So let's make a full simulation. And to do that, I'll first click on one of my operations over here, and there's only one to choose. That's the drill and counter bore. And then I'll head up here into these buttons, and I'll get, it's a little hard to make out the graphic, but it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 icons from the left, and that's verify selected operations. It says verify, but effectively it's a simulation. The simulation will also take its view from the current view, so if you want to look from a particular perspective, you need to set that up in advance. Let's simulate the isometric view first, and then we might choose to simulate another as well. Depending on the complexity of your path, this might take a little while. The drill is awful simple. And then I'll hit play, and then just like a little video, it'll show me how each of those passes will look. If you have a much longer operation, you can change the speed down here in the lower right. But for right now, none of these things are necessary. So this looks pretty good, but what I still can't quite tell is whether or not my drilling operations have penetrated all the way through my 5mm stock. So to check on that, I'll close that window and then right-click and view from the top. And then we will verify or simulate again. Here you can see some of the cut is obstructed by the holder that we'd established, but I think it's small enough that if we go ahead and simulate, it'll work out just fine. And yes, here we can verify that we get the color of the background showing through our object. And so we know that these drill passes are going to penetrate those full 5mm. Now let's say that you did a simulation and that you noticed there was something that you wanted to change. To do that, I'll switch back to the isometric view, and you can see roughly how far, thanks to the backplot, these drill passes penetrate into the material. So say, for example, I double-click here on parameters, and then I switch back to cut parameters, or make that linking parameters. Here I've established the retraction, for example. So let's say I know that I'm using a clamp that's really tall, and that I might need my retraction to be something on the order of, say, 50mm instead of 10. It could also be that, let's say I only wanted to drill part way into the material, so I might just say -1. Now if I hit the check mark, the backplot will regenerate, but it won't finish regenerating visually until I regenerate the toolpath down here at the bottom. You can see it has a red X. So I'll click there and hit the check mark. And that backplot regenerates. We saw it for a moment there. So now you can see my retraction is much higher, but my penetration is slightly smaller. We can verify this again. And you'll see that tool lifts way up as it's making its travel across the workpiece and also fails to penetrate as far into the material. So the flexibility of the simulation is that we can move back and forth between the parameters of the machining operation and a visualization of what it will do on the machine table until we get that job looking absolutely perfect.